Try again.
Damn. And at that point, it's too late. It's funny because he had time to dodge.
He sure did.
But he was just too impressed, like, God damn, he caught that. Ah, shit. A big birthday gift for me, my birthday's next month. A big birthday gift for me is if you came out to see the 1-year anniversary of me doing sit-down comedy at the Broadway Comedy Club. Going to be back in the Red Room September 27th. Oz will join me later as we just sit down and just lollygag with the audience. And then we're going to have all of you up for open mic. And that show, again, is going to be 9 p.m. at the Broadway Comedy Club. That's a Friday. Get your tickets now by going over to BroadwayComedyClub.com. All right, folks. We are not very far away from what is sure to be an instant classic. Oh, Post Malone and Ozzy Osbourne. Boy, that is... Man, that is the team up everybody's been waiting on.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on, man. What you say? Come on, I'm being serious now. Come on.
That the soul cannot rest.
People, that is The Crow 2024, the reboot, remake, reimagining that no one was asking for. But if you were that person that said, damn, if you are that one person right now saying, I can't wait for this, then you know what? You need to get down on your knees and thank the OG right here. Brandon Lee as the Crow from 1994. Without this movie, you wouldn't have this new movie right here. Somebody says, you got a time machine? Nah, listen. Let's be serious for a moment. A lot of people have a lot of harsh feelings about this remake right here, and that's because The Crow. And I can understand because the Crow from 1994 is something that is very, 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 very hard to top. It's very hard to even match. It's hard to even come close to that movie right there. It is such a cult classic. This is based, of course, on the comic book by James O'Barr. As you can see here, here he is in his drug PSA, telling his girl, "Hey, stay no to drugs, or else I have to come back from the dead and kill you." But this is something where this guy made this comic based on his life experience, where his girlfriend, right, had died at the hands of a drunk driver. Well, I say hands, but I guess car of a drunk driver, and just put him in such a sadness that this was his way of kind of
working through it. Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people, that's what made the comic book so popular, because there was so much emotion and just, you know, so much of this guy putting just his real experience into it. And same thing with the movie. Movie, as we all know, Brandon Lee, who's legendary now because of this movie, was tragically killed on the set. And that's one of the reasons why people said this film right here is something that is very, very hard to to top, because it just has that piece of history in there that makes this movie just puts it on a different plane.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul.
Is that gasoline I smell?
So, you know, this movie right here is such a huge cult classic. And I just brought up the death of Brandon Lee in this movie. You know, a lot of questions are like, man, what would Brandon Lee have done after this movie, which was considered to be like the big jumping off point for his career. Right. Like, he already made some movies, but this is going to put him in the mainstream.
Right.
You know, this movie right here. But, and listen, I like the movie. I do. I like the movie a lot. But I'm going to ask a question as we get into this retro review for this film right here, in anticipation of this new reboot coming out. So I'm going to ask a question that's probably going to be even offensive to some people, but I'm going to ask it anyway. as we get into our retro review. And then I'll ask this question to everybody else as we go on. Would this movie had been as successful as it is now if Brendan Lee didn't die? And there's a lot of things. People take that question personally because, you know, again, it is something where it seems like you're almost disrespecting a guy who died on the set. He died from a piece of shrapnel that was shot from a pistol. But I think it's a valid question because, as I told you, you know, his death, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. This death actually, it really did make this movie more legendary than it already is. Mm-hmm. Probably the reason why it is so legendary, as tragic as that might be. And because for one, this is about a guy who comes back from the dead to avenge the brutal murder of his girlfriend
and himself.
So, again, as disrespectful as it may seem, I mean no disrespect at all, would this movie have been as successful if Brendan Lee didn't die? And I'm gonna give you probably even more disrespectful answer. I would say no, it would not probably have been as successful. And I'll tell you why. Because, listen, I love this movie for a lot of reasons, but I never thought the story was that great in this film right here, especially as a revenge story. You know, the story deals with a criminal who runs all the crime in the city, and on Devil's Night, he sets this version of Detroit on fire, and it was his gang that killed the character of Eric Draven, Brendan Lee's character, and his girlfriend because they didn't want to leave the apartment that they want to burn down. Mm-hmm. So he said, y'all got to go.
Right. What was his reason for wanting the building? Was he planning to build condos or something?
I don't think he thought that far.
Yeah.
I mean, was he trying to collect insurance?
I just saw it right before we came over here.
He's doing insurance fraud.
Insurance fraud.
I mean, that's usually what arson is connected to. But I remember when the gang came in on it, they were like, "Hey, you sent all these complaints, didn't you? Well, we don't like that." Now,
to be honest with you, I looked this up because I tried to find that answer. It's a thing that people really do. It was getting out of hand. It's also called. It's called Devil's Night, and it's also called Mischief Night. Okay. And it was getting out of hand, I think, in Detroit. Okay. And they just worked it in here. Now, why the fuck? I don't know what the profit is of being made out of burning the city down and kicking people out their apartments.
Right. And taking the chance on the cops coming down on you for it, but okay.
Yeah, but whatever, But you know what? That gets into kind of the story right here because, listen, this is a revenge story. And it just depends on what kind of take you want on a revenge story. What works for you. And see, for a revenge story for myself, I have to hate those villains, man. I mean, I had to see them do the act. I had to see them be just extremely shitty people. I have to actually know them as characters, and I have to hate them. It's one of the reasons why I did not really buy Kill Bill as a revenge story because those characters look cool and they did cool things, but I never really hated them.
Yeah.
And that's the case here, man. These characters here, these villains, I just don't hate them enough. And I think it's because it's the way they're telling the story.
Well, they're just a bunch of tweakers.
That's it, man.
And rapists.
Well, they're murderers and rapists.
Yeah, they are. Don't get me wrong.
But the thing is, like I said, now this is just personal. For a revenge story, I really feel like I need to, and it's part of the really terrible character development of these villains, but I need to see them do these things. I need to see them, again, just relish in their act and really just drive me to hate them.
Well, I mean, they go into it. They just, at that time, nobody wanted to really, except for Quentin Tarantino, nobody wanted to really put the camera on that and have it stay.
And I wouldn't expect them to really dwell on it.
Yeah.
But it just, the other thing is, and again, just a matter of personal taste, they just do it in such quick flashbacks in the movie. And I think there's certain things with character development they do that are too quick, or they don't do enough at all. And they do show the crime, but again, it's just alluded to in such quick flashbacks.
No, me first.
Now, I could probably deal with that if I saw them just being more terrible people after the act. Like, okay, I can apply these acts that they're doing later to that horrible incident right there. But they don't really get much into their backstory.
Oh, they don't have a backstory. Like I said, they're tweakers who work for the man. But we're just with them interacting with each other. I got enough of them being scummy and like, yeah, these gotta die. Whether Eric Draven does it or somebody else, they got to go.
Yeah,
they're super reckless and pointing guns at each other, and in their environment, they make everybody feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, see, that's the way that's what played badly for me with them. Yeah, because when we do get to know them, they're goofy. They you know, they try to be tough. They try to act hard. But then when it's all said and done, they just act like a bunch of silly ass teenage boys.
Yeah, they do.
Shit ain't even loaded, man.
She's like, man, I'm so stupid.
I hate working this table.
Like being at a goddamn high school, trying to come in here. So they come across just as goofy. I never took them seriously. They never seemed threatening to me because they're so silly. And they're supposed, that's the thing, they're supposed to be threatening. And that's what's supposed to make them worth hiring to do these jobs, of going out murdering people and, you know, threatening people. But they seem too stupid to do their job.
They did pretty good on the murdering part.
In the flashbacks, I'll say one person. There was only one person who seemed like he was effective at his job, and that was this dude, 1010.
Yeah, he was until he wasn't.
He's closest to a comic book supervillain that they have in here, you know, except when he's acting coonish.
Close your gate when you go out. Oh, I close this up for you real good, man.
You're like, come on, man. Now this black shit again.
Like, she's teasing him.
I know. But, you know, 1010 was cool. I liked him because, like I said, he was the only one that seemed effective at his job. This is based on the comic book. He seemed to be the only one that was like a comic book supervillain.
Oh, yeah.
He even kind of got a comic book supervillain outfit and everything.
He's got a specialty weapon.
Got a special weapon and everything. You know, he has a power. Mm-hmm. You know, he's almost like Bullseye from Daredevil. When I throw my knives, I never miss. Except today.
Yeah.
Try harder. Try again.
Damn. And at that point, it's too late. It's funny because he had time to dodge.
He sure did.
But he was just too impressed, like, God damn, he caught that? Shit! I mean, that shit went a long time.
Well, even the ones he threw, they took so long to get over there. Anybody could have been like, all right, well, I don't need to get this out of my face.
Yeah, I don't need to be an undead superhero. Swat that shit like a fly. I went for a long time, so you just hear the sound. Oh, he stuck there looked like that the whole time. I like that. That character seemed like, you know, somebody that seemed like an actual threat to me, even though he went down pretty easy. But the others ain't
the other three are stooges.
The others ain't shit.
Yeah.
Others ain't shit at all. They're just a bunch of drug addicts or wannabe tough guys. Then they're either too high or just too weak and bitch ass to put up a fight.
Well, also, 1010 is the first one that the Crow comes across, and he seems to not have his powers quite figured out at first.
Yeah.
You know, like, man, he sure is taking advantage of you, but by the time he got the other three, he's like, okay, I know how this works now.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael Massey plays the character of Fun Boy. And just to get to a little bit of history before we get into this and get this out the way, this character, this actor, he's the one that actually fired the shot that killed Brendan Lee, haunted him the rest of his life. He died at 64. He had stomach cancer.
Oh, dang.
But yeah, he talked about it all the time. He quit acting for about a year.
Yeah.
Because he said, I'm having nightmares
Sure.
from this. So yeah, he's the one. I mean, it haunted him the rest of his life. But as far as the character goes, Fun Boy ain't shit. He's so strung out. First of all, he can hardly get out of bed to do anything. But then when he does, the Crow ain't even. He only has to do half the work. Fun Boy does the rest of the work for him.
Right.
Shit. The moment Fun Boy did decide to stand up in bed, that fool stood up and shot himself.
To my sheets.
It's a lame line too, but yeah, and now that he's laid out, I like the way just like even Eric Draven, Brendan Lee's character, the Crow, he's like, shit, this is too easy.
Too easy, right? I had a whole thing planned for you, but
Is it always like this?
He went. It was He like, wow, is it gonna be this easy for the rest of the movie? It was hard, man. Revenge ain't that fun when y'all kind of making it too simple. But
I can't even believe you guys killed me, to be honest.
that's what I'm thinking too. I was like, wow, man, y'all got lucky with that job.
Yeah, they had a good day.
Because I even like the way he like, you know what? He gave him the death that he wanted. He just shot his ass up with heroin and he's the Fun Boy went out the way he's probably gonna go out in life anyway.
Sure, he just accelerated time.
Exactly, just overdosed.
You like heroin? I'll have all the heroin in the world.
Yeah.
That Bugs Bunny escape.
Yeah.
You sure was.
See ya, Doc.
It like somebody grabbed his ass and pulled him out the window. Like he was going, like he had a line to say, oh shit. And T-Bird. What's that actor's name?
David Kelly? Or David Patrick, I think.
Yeah, he so this the dude that plays T-Bird right here. I knew he was a bitch.
Well, he is in every single thing he's in.
And he was
Warriors come out to play.
He sure was. He was the one. It wasn't me. It was the Warriors. It wasn't me. It was them. The Warriors. So he's gonna always go out like a bitch in everything he's in. He's been that warrior ever since.
Damn, I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he he's probably a good leader, but he's one of those leaders that just tells everybody what to do while everybody does the dirty work.
Did you send us these complaints? Good. Does it get you sweating?
And I knew he was gonna be a bitch because he's one of those dudes who tries to act tough. You know, like there's a scene he's going through a crowd. Hey, get out the way, asshole, move. Hey, I'm coming through. Yeah, you know people just watching the show because they beat his ass
right. It's because he's got his boys with him.
Yeah.
If he turned around and they weren't there, he'd be quiet as a church mouse.
And a lot of people know that he's the boss's main guy. So yeah, he's just going through and talking shit. But when the Crow duct taped his ass, it was about to set his ass on fire. Yeah, boy, that bitch came out strong. Toodles, bitch. I do like this death though. Blew his ass up. None of these guys really put up a fight except for 1010, and that's the first one. All of them go down kind of easy. And it just kind of took away from the revenge aspect of it. In fact, they went out so weak that I actually felt sorry for one of them.
Did you?
Skank. The only reason why, because I thought, okay, this dude was mentally challenged.
Yeah, no, I got that impression.
Yeah, he's just doing this because they brought his ass in there. He's just doing what everybody else on the, like, I didn't feel that sorry for him, but I was like, man, this dude, he's not even,
it's like the brother in Good Time. It's like he was just in there because of his brother.
He was there, because he needed friends, and they brought him in. They took advantage of his ass and brought him into a bad situation. This dude Skank, man. Yeah, this dude ain't right in the head.
And he took him away without chasing him down.
Even he laughed. And I think that's actually a real laugh.
Probably.
I think that dude, I think they caught that. I think he was performing and they got his reaction shot. I think that actor's really laughing.
And he took him away without chasing him down. And his blood right there to you, buddy.
We ought to just videotape this, play it back in slow motion.
He's like, God damn. Because I'm wondering, like, he's wondering, like, why the f*** been hired?
Exactly.
Somebody said he must be T-Bird's cousin or something. That he has to look after.
Did this guy get on the payroll? What's going on here?
I told his to hire this dude. It's Tony Todd, by the way.
Yeah. And Michael Wincott as the boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, like this, like I don't know why they keep his ass around because they must feel like I said they must feel sorry for him. Are they using him?
Yeah, like they hired the other dudes. They hired T-Bird, and T-Bird brought in everybody else.
Yeah, like I said, that must be his relative or something that his mama told him to take care of.
Right,
because like, he can't even eat chips, right?
or it's just one of those like we need an idiot to do the things we don't want to do.
Yeah, because outside of just being told what to do, he's ineffectual. Like if there's nobody around to protect him, like he can't keep him. He's a danger to himself. Like if nobody's going to help him, this dude's just he's going to die.
Oh, this happy horse shit.
Oh yeah, I love that scene. The way it plays out is so weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. He pulls the GTA and Jake hits the guy and yanks him out the car and drives off, but he even ends up crashing and shit. But yeah, like this guy's if nobody's around to protect him, he's a danger to himself.
Sure.
So I'm like, man, why the even keep this guy around? So what they end up being for me are just ineffectual henchmen who are just being picked off one by one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish, just for me, and again, some people are fine with it. Just story-wise, a story that's driven by revenge. I wish I just felt more aggression towards these villains, and they just come off as goofballs.
Well, I didn't feel so strongly that way. I mean, they all, they did do the crime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm one who doesn't like when the hero goes after and kills henchmen. Well, the boss is over there. I'm like, that's your real target. But for his perspective, hey, these are the guys who shot and killed me and my wife. I got to take care of them. Yeah. And it's only later, it's like, well, he told us to. It's like, well, okay, now it's his turn. Watch this movie today. I was just like, yeah, there's a lot of cool things about this movie, but it's still pretty cheesy. I don't know how it would play if it came out today where you're not even thinking about Brandon Lee and his death. And, now that we've had an evolution in comic book movies, watching this now, it's a little like...
Well, again, you say cheesy, and again, that's what these villains are to me.
I know.
They're very cheesy, these villains.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that murderers and rapists should not be punished, but they just came off as...
No, I know. I get it. I hear what you're saying, and I mostly agree with you, but they were a bit more effective to me than they were to you. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm not either. That's why I said it comes off different to some people.
Yeah.
They made me laugh more than I hated them.
Yeah. You! What's your name? I feel like a little worm on a big fucking hook.
Everybody has fun with him until they don't.
Grave. What grave? What about my fucking grave?
Get your ass off there. The main villain, Top Dollar, who's played by, you said, Michael Wincott. I love that actor. He has a great voice, but the character...
And the wig.
He is not very memorable, man.
Long hair.
That's what I mostly remember him for to be the top villain. He don't do enough dirt. No. All he does is just bark orders and sit around posing in the shadows trying to look cool.
And acting like he's going to the Renaissance Festival as soon as the meeting's over.
Shit, you more friendly than I am, because I said it looked like he's at an anime convention. That fool is doing anime cosplay. Look at this right here. This long hair. It's damn wearing the gloves and everything.
Can we wrap this up? I gotta go get a turkey leg. Come on.
He's just weird, man. What the other thing that's memorable about him? Again, as a top villain, I think he's worse than the henchman, because he's just remembered for being just odd. His half sister, while sitting around doing tons of cocaine and getting
high on body parts.
Yeah, playing with eyeballs and doing coke. Sitting up there sauteing eyeballs
and huffing it.
And huff. Yeah, he sure did. Yeah. Getting high for eyeball fumes and cocaine. Yeah, he's sitting up there trying to do business while high as hell.
Roll tempted.
What was I saying?
I will give it to the actor, Michael Wincott. A lot of his delivery of his dialogue was funny.
I like the actor a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. The character is paper thin.
Because I think the guy has the voice for line delivery. He has a great voice. It's just funny because some of his line delivery are for lines that just made me laugh because this guy, Top Dollar, you know, again, to be such this big crime lord, he just keeps talking about his daddy. Like he's from the South. Like it's crazy because he talks to his, like he talks about his daddy to the half sister. He's like she doesn't know him.
Right.
Dad gave me this.
Daddy gave me this damn Tim Burton ball, right?
Birthday. Childhood's over the moment you know you're gonna die.
She's like, yeah, I was there. Man, I think
Do
that's
this
a
every day.
yeah.
You just have to put up with it. Let him get it out.
How come every time we're about to have sex, you got to talk about daddy? God damn, this is a buzzkill, man.
He's my dad too.
Yeah, I don't want to have sex no more. That's why he lost at the end of the movie, because he's about to kill the villain. He had to stop and talk about his daddy to the crow. That somebody don't get daddy.
You know, my daddy used to say,
Oh, hell, give me this. My daddy. Oh, you're talking about your daddy. You know, my daddy said. I like Foghorn Leghorn. My daddy said.
I'll say. You know, my daddy used to say, every man's got a devil.
Fuck your punk ass daddy.
I love that. What's that movie? Baby Boy.
Baby Boy.
You know, my daddy used to say,
You know what?
every man's got a devil.
Your dad.
Your punk ass daddy.
Everyone, excuse me for interrupting the conversation right now, but we do have to give a word out to our sponsor, which is Privacy Hawk, and we need to talk about this anyway. This is very important. You see, your information is all out there, all over the internet. You know this, but you take it for granted because you just don't know how much of that information is out there, and you need to take care of that. We all need to be worried about that, and that is where Privacy Hawk comes in. Why? Because Privacy Hawk is your all-in-one data management app designed to help you regain control of your personal information, because it automatically manages who uses and shares your data, allowing you to opt out and delete your information from thousands of companies and data brokers out there. In addition, Privacy Hawk also provides comprehensive ID theft protection, and their suite includes monitoring of multiple names, phone numbers, addresses, social security numbers, all that stuff you don't want out there, and more. And with $1 million in insurance, dark web, and data breach alerts, and continuous monitoring, Privacy Hawk ensures you are protected even when the worst happens. Ooh, that's a lot of protection right there. You're wondering right now, just how do they do this? Well, Privacy Hawk scans across thousands of databases to identify exposed data, reduces fraud risk, and actively protects you from ID theft. It manages your private data all in one place. Now, they do have a premium plan, but for more protection, more features, and let's face it, more peace of mind, you're going to want to get that platinum plan. And that's why Privacy Hawk is offering you a discount on that right now. To get your pre-privacy scan, download Privacy Hawk and use the code right here, double20 for 20% off their platinum plan. Ooh, you are feeling better already knowing that there's a service out there that just simply exists that can protect you that way. Now think how much better you're going to feel when you actually get it. So I want to thank Privacy Hawk for sponsoring this portion of the show. And I want to thank all of you out there for your support as usual. And now back to the show. He's like, Tony Todd is excellent in the movie. But even he got taken out really easy. Ernie Hudson shot his ass.
Bye-bye, Ernie.
Yeah, that was it. You know, he did a little move and was gone.
I mean, look, there's a lot of gunplay in here, and this is one of those movies where the gun battles, everybody's acting like they're playing cops and robbers because they're getting shot at. They're not really trying to duck. They're not trying to get cover.
And you see the dude can't die.
Yeah,
and that's another thing that I see with the movie. Now, it seems like I'm complaining about this movie. I'm not. I'm just giving you reasons why I don't think that if Brandon Lee had lived, you know, this movie probably would be looked at with a little more scrutiny. Because, you know what I'm saying? Because to your point, like I'm looking at the scene that you're talking about, like there's some parts in here where I think, not a lot, but I think even the editing is not that great in
Oh,
some
yeah.
parts.
Yeah.
Like it gets to a point where it's really kind of it's choppy, it's murky, and it's chaotic, gets a little bit disorienting, especially during that part you're talking about where everybody's having the big shootout with when the Crow, Eric Draven, comes in and starts taking on Top Dollar's man. You know, and it's like, I'm like you.
Oh, now y'all leave?
Yeah, exactly.
They thought it was the music.
And I'm like you, I'm thinking, damn, you know, when y'all gonna get the point that the guy ain't going down? Y'all done shot him how many times and he's still up? They're like,
Earlier in that scene, he's just across the table, and other guys are like, are we shooting? Are we watching? What's going on here? And when we talked about the trailer for the remake of it, I said that I thought it was incredibly campy. And the action in here is the best example of it. It's like, there's cool poses, but it's like, that's stupid.
I think without Brandon Lee's death, it wouldn't have been as successful, but I do think it still would have been very successful.
Well, you know,
it was playing off of Batman '89, except taking it to a much more darker, violent level. And then what Alex Proyas was bringing to it was that slick music video look about it.
Yeah, well,
and with the soundtrack, it just had so many things going for it at that time.
But Brandon Lee's death is such a huge impact on this film. You know, it's a huge tragic part of the history of this film. You know, and also it's a character whose main, as I said, his main theme is death. And so many parts of that character are symbolic of Brandon Lee's passing. You know, Brandon Lee, for many, the mythos of this character here is Brandon Lee. And it wouldn't have been as strong if Brandon Lee hadn't died. You know, I'll talk about that in a little bit. Listen, there are lines in the movie itself, and they're eerie. And that's a coincidence, but it's eerie how it's like Brandon Lee is talking to us after he has died.
It's really late, Sarah.
You didn't say goodbye.
You're just gonna have to forgive me for that.
You know, there are a lot of lines in there where it's just so close to that actor's situation, you know, his tragic death, that it just, you know, without that, the movie wouldn't even seem as personal for some people. And wouldn't seem as personal to all of us, because like I said, it seemed like this dude was talking to us from beyond the grave with this movie right here. But I agree with you. I agree with you that would it still be a classic? Yeah, I think it was. Not only would it be good, but I think that it would still be probably a cult classic at best. But it still would be fondly remembered. You know, because listen, there's so many good things now. Because already some people walked out. Man, you just bullshitting. Man. You just complaining, man. Y'all don't like nothing. Man, you shit. You know, y'all can't nothing make y'all happy. This is now for those who waited. I still think that the movie's great.
It works. I mean, it all comes together in this campy. Like, it was always meant to be a cult hit.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why, man. No, it was meant to be a cult hit, and I think without Brandon Lee's death, would it have been as big, or fondly remembered, or no, people wouldn't be. You know, we give things in a way we give this movie a lot of passes for what happened.
Yeah, I mean, you consider the source material of what happened to set this off, the death of James O'Barr's wife, girlfriend, and then this comic that's all about depression and death, leading to this movie with Brandon Lee, who's killed on the set, in the prime of his life, much like his father, who died right when he was breaking big. Yeah, and there's that history. Like, people thought, damn, there's this this whole Brandon Lee thing is even taking on a bigger mystical aspect, being that his father died. Like, is there a curse on his family or whatever, So, yeah, man, it's just, there's something that's supernatural feeling about this movie. But if you take all that away, Brandon Lee is still great in the movie. Yeah, I think this still would have been a huge breakout for him. Oh yeah, I think it would have been something that people still would have fondly remembered. He's still great in the film. He brought the emotion and the pain that was needed for this character. The thing that made this, if it was just a movie with a guy walking around feeling sad, that would be a dull performance, no matter what his circumstances are. But Brandon Lee, he already showed that he has a lot of charisma. There's so many points in this movie where
he's sad, but he's bringing a lot of screen presence.
And I say I'm dead. And I move.
I'm serious.
You ain't shot yet. You ain't. In fact, you would have came up there.
Shoot, if you will. Officer Albrecht.
Who? You know, that is just a sample of how, he has so much charisma that this is why people were saying this is his big breakout role. It wasn't just a role anymore where he was doing action stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Ernie Hudson elevates his performance. They complement each other very well. They have this Commissioner Gordon Batman thing going on.
They do.
Excellent.
They do. Ernie Hudson is solid.
He's so good.
Like if you have him in your movie, he will elevate things.
Yeah.
Because he's a veteran. He knows exactly what to do.
No. But also, I think Brendan Lee, in addition to having a lot of charisma, he also, and I have, it's just not him, I imagine. It's also part of the director and screenwriters who realize, yes, this is a tragic story, but you got to have fun with the character too. Mm-hmm. And Brendan Lee, he brings all these different layers to the character. He is having fun with that character. There's a lot of scenes where he is being sort of that superhero that we want him to be.
You're looking for a coroner. Shift your brains.
Mr. Gideon.
Man, I miss John Polito.
Yeah. He's dead, right?
Yeah.
Crow got his ass. Hey, listen, I love that saying. I ain't never heard nobody say, shit on me.
No, me either. I mean, you're like, me, but never.
Yeah, I've heard me, yeah, but not shit on me. Shit, he got a weird fetish going on or something. Shit on me. Shit, you better be glad he didn't spread his ass and do it. Okay. No! They had everybody, now that's one of the biggest things with this movie. This alternate reality, Halloween Town, look for Detroit.
Halloween Town.
I mean, it was kind of like that, man. It was, this movie was a character of its own.
Oh, yeah.
It's like if somebody took a Tim Burton city and just rioted the hell out of it.
Right?
And the soul can't rest.
Now, I don't know how, because the big thing about this movie is starting fires. And I don't even know how they were able to start any fires. Much more than keeping them going because it just rained all the time in this city. I don't know how you can keep any fires going at all. But when it wasn't lit up and fiery like that, most of the movie is wet, grimy, dirty.
Yeah, it is
dark.
one of those cities where you're like, I am moving away to get a better life at Gotham City.
Yeah. Yeah, why would you want to live here? Raining all the time. It's like the worst of Seattle. Uh-huh. If Seattle wasn't green, it's just full of trash
and dark all the time.
And dark all the time, man. Yet there were some parts where, and I thought this was an interesting choice, and I think the movie even said it. There are parts of the movie where they said that they wanted the scene grounded, even though it was very atmospheric, because they wanted to have this big separation, this contrast between this crime-ridden city, even though it was exaggerated, and this supernatural character that was running around. So you got parts of the movie here that seem, pretty normal, like the police stuff going on here. Yeah, man, shit, I'm about to get a promotion. Shit, I found dead people. This is
his chief is so ineffective.
Man, that dude who played his chief, that dude is overacting and just mad all the time.
And don't do a goddamn thing.
Don't do nothing but yell in the movie.
It's the third hit in your hood in 24 hours. Just fished this out of the river.
And that's everything you need to know. He does that through the whole movie, except sometimes louder.
Yeah.
I think y'all mentioned this already. I think the supporting cast in here. Like, see, if the villains didn't work or make a connection with me and people who felt like me, might see this, I think the supporting cast is where they made it up. Because I think it was the emotion with the supporting cast that really resonated with audiences out there. And y'all already mentioned it. Ernie Hudson as Lieutenant Albrecht. As much as Brandon Lee gets credit for his performance in here, Ernie Hudson gives a great performance. And they're good together.
They are good together.
They have some really nice scenes where it's just kind of low key And man, it just seems like these two dudes, it's like, man, it's too bad that this guy's dead and probably has to go back to the grave one day because, you know, they can hang out.
Right.
They can get a beer sometimes. I wish this guy would come back once a year from the dead.
on Halloween night.
On Halloween night and hang with Ernie Hudson because Ernie Hudson, he's getting divorced. He ain't got nobody around. He needs a boy to hang with.
Watch them get hot dogs.
But yeah, go get hot dogs together. Yeah, man.
Is your wife?
Yeah, well, you shouldn't smoke these. They'll kill you.
Like, bitch, give me my cigarette back. Are you a doctor?
You getting divorced, huh?
You about to?
I might have got divorced, except my wife was murdered.
Yeah. Shit, well, you about to die again if you don't give me my cigarette. Yeah, they got chemistry together. It was like, now, shit, don't let somebody kill Ernie Hudson. That fool will come back and kill everybody. Kill my wife, now my best friend, God damn it. Yeah, they get along together very well, man. And I like the girl who plays Sarah.
Yeah.
Rochelle Davis. I don't think that she was obnoxious.
No.
I think she was a character who, you know, she was in a bad situation, was making the best out of it. But the really good thing about this character is the actress, who's like 44 now. Yeah, she was like 12 when she started filming.
Sure.
It's the movie's 30 years old now. Thing with her is that, first of all, given again the history of this movie and what happened with Brendan Lee, she's kind of representing the audience now. Like, she's the one that we kind of relate to. She's, you know, she's our avatar in the movie in a way.
I thought you cared.
Sir, do care.
Wait.
Let me go. Your dead powers. But you know what? She stopped acting, and she says it's because she took a lot of time off because she was really freaked out behind what happened with Brendan Lee. But whatever the case is, I don't know, man. Maybe she should have kept acting. I don't know why she really didn't, but she was really good with the adults in the movie.
Well, yeah. I mean, like you saying she wasn't obnoxious, and she wasn't, except the one time she was, and she caught herself.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to laugh at that part.
You're talking about with her mother?
With her mother. He's like, yeah, I'll make you some pancakes, whatever. Oh, now you want to be a mom? You know what? You're right. I'm not going to. No. I'd like some eggs over easy if you don't mind.
Man, you know what? I got it, though.
Oh, I got it, too. It just made me laugh.
Yeah, that scene, I saw what was going on because her mother was going around foods everywhere and everything in front of her.
Not taking care of her at all.
And she's like, oh, now Dina, whatever her name. Now you want to be a mom. Oh, you think eggs gonna make it easy? Make it over easy. Yeah. No, she's like, you think cooking eggs is gonna take care of everything? Win them eggs. Yeah, now you. She's like, oh shit. I didn't do nothing.
Morphine is bad for you.
I'm like, damn, thanks.
Can you get rid of these track marks, dude?
Yeah. Shit, they need to hire him at every rehab place. Oh, you put them out of business.
No, they would just keep coming back.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, I thought that actress, I forgot that she was in everything in the 90s.
She was. Anna Levine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she was a big character actress in the 90s, and she was in a lot of stuff. But yeah, I liked her in this, and I liked that scene. Oh, here it is, where she's trying to cook those eggs.
What are you doing? You're acting weird. Did you win the lottery or something, Darla?
You know what, bitch?
I know.
You.
Aren't you late for school? Get the out of here.
Try to do something nice for your ass.
Don't say I didn't try with your ass.
Just throw the eggs in her face. There's your
acting like your mom to your dad.
She done being like a cartoon. She got eggs on her face.
Forget it. I never was too good at all this shit. Over easy.
Now, I don't know if she caught herself being a bitch or she was just that hungry. She's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I just
yeah, she's always like scavenging for food. Ernie Hudson buying her hot dogs.
Yeah, that's true, man. Roll skateboard around the city.
No, I say she caught herself. Otherwise, she would have just pull those eggs out of the garbage can.
She's great with a lot of the actors in the movie, man. She's great with Brendan Lee, but early on, she had some really good scenes with Ernie Hudson.
Oh yeah, very good scenes.
Okay.
No onions.
They make you fart big time.
Like, damn, she just farted right now.
Yeah, I like this kid. She knows what's up.
You know what? Don't put no onions on that hot dog.
Girl, you want this hot dog tonight?
Yeah, man. Somebody said she ain't lying. Nah, she's very good, man. That's what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of the casting here is good. That's, you know, and see, that's why I think I was so hard on the villains too, because I don't think that, you know, they're so exaggerated
and they
they're
take
so
up a lot of
cartoonish.
they take up a lot of screen time.
Yeah. When you know, they're very much cartoon characters. When you have these guys who are given like actual, you know, again, more grounded and, you know, sincere performances. So I not to say that it wasn't entertained by some of the other actors. They weren't doing a good job. They were doing a great job. Like especially that dude that plays Skank. You know, he's putting his all in that crazy ass character. But they, you know, they're not as written. Their dialogue and their characters are just not as well written as the rest of the supporting cast, I thought. But these guys are great, man. You know, and you know, y'all probably have some stuff to add here. But for me, lastly, if they had kept, let's just say they kept doing things the way they were when it came to the soundtrack, which I think would be the case. Because as the movie was being made, and I think this is before Brandon Lee's death, they were already pulling that soundtrack together. If anybody knows anything about the soundtrack, it is now also considered to be a classic soundtrack, and it was a mainstream hit. And there's a great article, and I read this a couple of days ago before I even decided to do this retro review. There's a great article from the LA Times that gives a whole history about how the soundtrack came together. It's about this producer, Jeff Most. Because see, at the time, not everybody, but a lot of soundtracks, they were just kind of throwing people on there to promote bands for the labels. And this guy had to actually convince a lot of people that what he was doing was right. Because they're like, what kind of acts are you pulling together? What kind of music? Yeah, we don't know about that. This doesn't sound like it has a whole lot of mainstream appeal. You know, it was a lot of goth music. It was a lot of what they call New York underground rock music and whatnot, kind of heavy music. And but they started pulling this together before Brendan Lee died. The producer, what he did was, the reason why he was so set on putting this together with these bands, it wasn't because he didn't think that, he didn't care if they would sell or not. I mean, I'm sure he did a little bit, but it was like, I'm putting together music that tells this story, that puts the, you know, fits the tone of this film. And there's you know, when you watch the movie, there are a lot of these songs, whether they're in the background or whether they're highlighted, if nothing else, you can't argue, it definitely fits the tone of what they're doing. You know, one of the biggest tracks on the soundtrack, it starts out the soundtrack, it's Burn by The Cure. Now, I have the soundtrack, I bought it when it came out, and I think it's one of the best soundtracks I ever had. This, and believe it or not, the second soundtrack.
Well, for the second movie?
For the second movie, terrible movie, but great soundtrack. By the same producer. But I love this soundtrack, and I remember watching the movie and thinking like, damn, it really is telling the story of this film. You know, that's also where they used a stand-in.
Oh, yeah.
They CG'd the face on there at the time. But, you know, and it was also, it matched the tone of the movie so much that they were even able to bring in bands and have them featured in certain parts, because a lot of this takes place in a club or a bar where the bands are playing, and the bands fit the atmosphere of that place. That was a band called Medicine. This is a band that was big at the time that I'm about to show you right here, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. They were such big performers and great performers that they had to put them in the movie. Somebody had a spring up their ass. Did you see that dude? When he,
with his hips?
Well, no, the dude that leaped off stage. Look right over here, right in this area. Like somebody threw his ass
it's like
out
it was
there.
a small trampoline right there.
But yeah, they were a big band in the 90s, man. It really says something about that soundtrack, because you were right. It was such a 90s soundtrack. It is.
Oh, yeah.
Has people on there that, you know, you know, maybe even younger people don't know about, but bands that were coming up like Stone Temple Pilots, stuff like that. You know, that it was so you know that, but people say that soundtrack, I don't know whether it's nostalgia or just the music was that good, but it still holds up.
Yeah. It was some of the best of the music from that time period, at least in that genre. Another reason this movie was so successful and would have been even without the death of Brandon Lee was the goth movement at the time, the subculture, because it had already kind of started with the actual comic, The Crow and Sandman, where it was like into comics, where it's like, hey, this is kind of mainstream. And then you got to this movie, it really put, you know, that culture in the mainstream, along with you got The Crow and The Cure in one package. It just Hot Topic was born from this movie.
No, it and it was almost like an edgier Hot Topic. Like Hot Topic is for you Tim Burton kids. It's like, no, we the Crow, bitch. You know, we're, believe it or not, we are even edgier than you are. Damn vampires. You know. We badass zombies. But yeah, man. It sounds like I'm complaining about the movie. I'm not. These are problems I had ever since I saw the film. Yeah. And it never stopped because I accepted the movie for what it was. Really, when you get down to it, it sounds like I was complaining about the villains. And I am, as far as you writing if you're writing a story, I think they could be written better, but that's just me. But I don't think the as much as I talk about, I want this to be a revenge story where I root for the bad guys to get theirs. It's more of like a story about loss and love.
Yeah.
And that's, and I think that's why this movie kind of resonates over that.
It's a highly flawed movie, but yet still enjoyable, especially for the things in it that work. And now I don't know that this is something I could take, say, somebody from Gen Z and say, hey, sit down and watch this. You're going to love it. Because there's so much history involved that I think if you don't really have an understanding of that, it falls flat for you.
I think the style would carry it. If you really like movies, you will love this because it is something where you can say, it's a lot of style over substance, but who cares? It looks cool. Yeah. Just go with it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people still watch this movie today for that style.
And you are right. I mean, there's a ton of lightning in a bottle happening here, like one after another.
Yeah, that's, and not to talk about a movie I hadn't seen. I'm not one of these people. Now, do I think it looks? Do I think if I wasn't reviewing movies, is this something I would want to rush out and see? This remake of The Crow? No, not really.
Really?
I'll admit that, but I wouldn't judge it. I would just be like, it's just a hard thing for. Listen, for anybody who wanted to go, they've tried to redo The Crow several times, make several sequels. It's just nothing can really top the history of this movie. The light in the bottle aspect.
Are there 3 sequels?
Yeah, like 3 or 4. There's a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just.
I don't know. When I watch the trailer for the new one, I don't feel negatively towards it. I was just like, okay, it's a thing they're doing. I can't really have any kind of opinion until I see the whole thing.
I can, and that.
I just know like you can't compare it to the first one, the original, because there's been, like you say, there's been other sequels, and maybe they'll do something different enough.
Yeah, I hope so. Now, I can't judge it as far as a trailer, because that's what they put trailers out there for.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I'm like, the thing that really stood out with The Crow is that a lot of people, even with Tim Burton's Batman out there, a lot of people said, you know what? I just never really seen something like this before.
Yeah.
This is something they took that dark goth style and made it the whole world that we really hadn't seen this way. Where, I look at something like this and it just seems like more like some people have been describing kind of John Wick action here. This isn't making me seem like, especially after being somebody who really enjoys The Crow so much, makes me seem like, all right, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if I feel like it was necessary, because if you had to do it, you had to do it in a way that really felt inspired, and that might be there. I don't see that inspiration in the trailer. Now the movie might be a different thing. You never know. I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. But it's just, it's a hard thing for anybody to go in and make a remake or a reboot or reimagine of a movie that has so much going for it.
Sure. I mean, if I rub the magic lamp, the new Crow would be more of an A24 type movie.
Yeah. All right.
What ratings though would you guys give it? I'd give that original one a full price, high full price at that.
Yeah. Story-wise, it would be more of a low matinee, but I think this movie has such a, everything else that it's doing, creating this world, the visuals behind it, creating this larger-than-life character, taking Brendan Lee to be this larger-than-life character. Yeah, I would give this a full price. Probably a low full price, but yeah, it'd be a full price. I mean, this movie is so influential too, man. And that's not me liking it over the time. When I saw it, I was like, it's got problems, but I really like this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, what'd you give it?
I don't know. It'd be somewhere between a high matinee and a low full price.
All right. And yeah, when people say, look at a one-of-a-kind movie, this is it right here. This truly is it. Well, you made it to the end of the video. That must mean you really like what we do. So if you do, check out these other videos just like this one. Check out our other YouTube channels and subscribe to join our wonderful Toasty community. And as always, stay toasty.